has been a turbulent week for the Chinese economy as Xi Jinping's government looks to stop rampant deflation. The Communist Party watched Asian counterparts South Korea and Japan meet with President Biden late last week. Beijing slammed the summit at Camp David, calling it, quote, a gross interference in China's internal affairs. And here with us now with his take on what all of this means is Steve Yates, former White House Deputy National Security Advisor. He is currently the America First Policy Institute Senior Fellow and Chair of the China Policy Initiative. Steve, great to be with you today. First, I want to get your take on that meeting last week at Camp David and China's reaction to the meeting.
Well, first and foremost, I wish that meeting had come about because the United States had some grand strategy that our allies were seeking to join into, but really it was somewhat out of fear that both Tokyo and Seoul have noticed an increasingly aggressive Beijing under the leadership of Xi Jinping of the Communist Party of China, and some concern about the staying power of the United States in the region as we have invested so heavily in the war of Russia against Ukraine. And there being questions from the Afghanistan withdrawal. So I wish it was a good reason for those allies to come together. It did result in some good scene setting and mood music. So I wouldn't take away from that part of the success. But really at its core, we need a serious approach to dealing with China. And I don't think that summit brought it out to the fore.
Yeah, and Steve, I mean, do you expect any countermeasures from China regarding this meeting?
Well, they'll have their exercises of their own. They've already really significantly increased military and information coercion over Taiwan, occasionally also reaching up into Japanese territory. They've been bullying Seoul, which is why Seoul swallowed its deep-seated hatred of Japan coming from the World War II period to have this somewhat kumbaya moment together with the United States. And so Beijing will push on all of these fronts. But for now, really, it's the free world having to decide what are we going to do about the economic, military, cyber, and other waves of challenges coming out of Xi Jinping's China today.
Yeah, and I want to talk about the economy right now. Here in the United States, the Fed has consistently raised interest rates to cool inflation. In China, we're seeing the opposite. This weekend, their central bank cut a key lending rate to try to stimulate the economy. Your thoughts on that, and how significant is that?
Well, there's a significant structural difference in China's economy, and I think we've had a lot of Western analysis coming from alleged China experts going back many decades, but also some market experts that impose our rationality there. But the communist system in China is real. It's not a pretend part of the Chinese Communist Party. There is a communist part of it, and they're not going to move toward a consumer-driven economy. That cedes control, and that's the other seed the Communist Party won't give up. And so they are having a problem of solvency in their banks. They're having a problem of solvency in their real estate market. They have a demographic problem with a shrinking younger generation and a ballooning retiring generation, and they have a problem of hiding their economic data increasingly with the youth unemployment rate going up and now it being forbidden to even discuss or disclose that. So there's a pretty bad stew brewing inside China, and we don't really have good, honest statistics and figures and trend lines to follow here.
Yeah, Steve, we probably have maybe about 30 seconds left or so. With all that being said, how do you think that will affect things for us here at home in the United States?
Well, two fronts. I think we need to get serious about what my friend and colleague Bob Lighthizer calls strategic decoupling. Anything that our lifelines depend upon in the American way of life, we should not be overly dependent upon China as a market to provide. And secondly, in a time of economic distress, Beijing could take added risks, whether it's against Taiwan, against us, or others. That nationalistic provocation risk increases when their economic turmoil increases in China.
Well, Steve, we really appreciate your insights. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.